If your soul has been whispering that it's time to heal, this is your sign. Stepping into the Mirror is the book that helps you face your truth, reclaim your power, and rise into the life you were created for. Start your transformation today. Order Stepping into the Mirror now on Amazon. Link available in the show notes. Thank you so much.
Welcome to Mirror Talk Soulful Conversations. If this is your first time here, we're so glad you found us. And to our returning listeners, welcome back. We've missed you. Take a moment to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on the inspiration, wisdom, and heartwarming stories we share every week. Let's grow together, one soulful conversation at a time. Mirror Talk.
You don't have to pretend you're fine. In this solo episode, we go deep into a season of nearly giving up, what it felt like, the tiny sparks that kept me breathing, and the practices that turned last-minute hope into a lasting light. With real-life, verified examples from Viktor Frankl and J.K. Rowling and practical, gentle tools you can use tonight, this conversation is for anyone who's holding their breath and asking, how do I find hope that lasts? Trigger warning. Discussion of deep depression and suicidal ideation. Please use the resources listed at the end if you're in crisis. Welcome back to Mirror Talk, Soulful Conversations. Today, I'm alone with you, and I want to speak to the part of you that's been in the dark for a long time. If you've ever stood at the edge of giving up, if you've ever felt the floor drop out beneath you, this one is for you. Pause. Take a breath with me. Inhale slowly. Hold. Exhale. One more. You're here. That matters. Today I'll tell you a story from a season when I nearly gave up. I'll name the feelings people usually bury. I'll share real examples of people who found meaning in the worst circumstances. And I'll give you practical steps, tiny things you can do tonight to find hope that lasts. There's a particular kind of cold that lives in the chest when hope starts to leave the room. It's quieter than panic and deeper than sadness. It's the numbness that makes the day move in slow motion. You can go through motions, eat, sleep, laugh, but the colors are dulled. The future looks like a long hallway with no light. For me, that season came after a cascade, a relationship that ended, an opportunity I'd pinned my identity on that evaporated, and a loneliness that felt like a physical weight. I remember sitting in my kitchen at 2 a.m., lights off, staring at a coffee mug thinking, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm done trying. The world felt heavy and thin all at once. If you've been there, you know that thinking about giving up feels at once like an end and like an escape. It's intimate and shameful. We hide it. We joke about it. We say we'll be okay tomorrow. And sometimes tomorrow isn't close enough. I want to bring in two people whose lives show how hope, hard-won and sometimes last-minute, can be real and lasting. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote about finding meaning even in the most brutal circumstances. In Man's Search for Meaning, he describes how some prisoners found reasons to live that had nothing to do with their external conditions. A promise to a loved one, the thought of completing a piece of work, or holding on to a tiny act of kindness. Frankl's core point: even when you can't control what happens to you, you can choose your response. And that choice, finding meaning, can be a lifeline. J.K. Rowling, before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, has spoken openly about living on welfare, wrestling with depression, and being close to giving up as she tried to write. The manuscript that changed her life was written in the midst of hardship. The story we think of as success came through a season of not knowing. The light that arrived for her didn't come as an overnight miracle. It arrived through continued showing up, a pen on paper, and a community member who believed enough to open a door. Both of these examples show two crucial things. First, the mind is more powerful than we often give it credit for. Second, hope sometimes comes as a series of small, stubborn acts, rather than one grand cinematic moment. So what does last-minute hope feel like? For me, it wasn't thunder. It was a small note from a friend I hadn't expected. It was a sentence in a book. It was the sunrise hitting my blinds in a way that made me notice color again. It was a tiny decision to call someone, to throw my phone across the room, to step into a vet's office with the dog I'd almost given away. Hope at that brink is often a micro movement. It's not everything changes now. It's, I'm going to answer one message. I'm going to breathe for 5 minutes. I'm going to make tea. These acts look insignificant, but in the dark, they're tremendous. They bend the arc of our immediate future long enough for another small thing to appear. Here are the life lessons I want you to take from this hour. These are practical maps I wish someone had read aloud to me on my worst nights. 1. Hope is a practice, not a feeling. Feelings are temporary. Practice is what creates traction. A practice could be a 60-second grounding, a nightly 3-item gratitude list, a short walk, or reading one paragraph of a book that comforts you. 2. Create a micro bridge. When the future feels impossible, build a bridge to the next 15 minutes, then the next hour. I can manage 15 minutes. Then ask, what can I do in those 15 minutes? The bridge shrinks the distance to the next actionable moment. 3. Meaning beats motivation. Motivation ebbs and flows, meaning why you want to keep going can be cultivated. Ask, what would I miss if I stopped? Who would feel the loss? What small thing can I work toward that isn't about image or results, but about soul? 4. Name and witness the pain. Shame eats hope. When you name your pain, you make it shareable. Say out loud to yourself or someone safe, I feel like giving up. Hearing it dissolves its power. 5. Use tiny rituals to anchor you. Rituals are not magic, but they orient the nervous system. A cup of chamomile at night, a 2-minute stretch when you wake, a short prayer or mantra when the dark hits. These are beacons. 6. Ask for help like a strategy, not a failure. Calling for help is one of the bravest and smartest things you can do. Make a list of 3 people and 1 professional resource now. Put it in your phone. When your courage feels thin, use the list. I'll give you 3 tiny practices you can try right now. No setup, no waiting. 1. The 5-4-3-2-1. Grounding. 2 minutes. Notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste, or a single breath. This gets your mind out of the loop and into your senses. 2. Micro-gratitude, 1 minute. Write down 3 small, honest things that didn't suck today. The point is not to force positivity, it's to train attention to nuance. Maybe, my feet were warm. A song reminded me of someone I love. I ate a mango. 3. The small promise, 1 sentence. Make a 1-sentence promise to yourself for the next hour. Keep it ridiculously simple. I will step outside and stand in the air for 2 minutes. Or, I will not make any life-changing decisions for 48 hours. Say it aloud and write it down. If any part of this episode makes you feel like you might harm yourself, pause and reach out. Tell someone, I'm in crisis. If you're in immediate danger, call your local emergency number. If you're in the United States, call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you're elsewhere, your local health services can direct you to crisis resources. You are not required to cope alone. Professional help, therapists, psychiatrists, crisis counselors, are not just for the very broken. They are tools and allies. There is no shame in using them. If you're nervous about cost or access, community clinics, sliding scale therapists, and online resources can be places to start. Hope That Lasts is not about never falling back into despair. It's about learning to recover faster and with more compassion. Build a tiny team, a friend, a counselor, a neighbor, a spiritual leader who will be your first call when the dark deepens. Design predictable days. Predictability calms the primitive brain. Morning rituals, sleep windows, short walks. These create baseline safety. Practice meaning making. Journal about what matters. Serve in a small way. Keep a project alive that isn't tied to outcomes. This is how a life rethreads itself. Be curious about setbacks. When darkness returns, ask, what triggered it? Are there physical causes, sleep, food, substances, that need addressing? Are there stories you're telling yourself that aren't true? Over time, these tiny scaffolds accumulate. They don't guarantee smoothness, but they make light more accessible when the tunnel returns. I want to close with one image I carry when I forget that hope is possible. Imagine you're in a long tunnel. The walls are rough, the ceiling low. You can't see the exit. You keep walking and your feet are tired. Then your hand brushes something on the wall, a mark, a name scratched there by someone who walked before you. It reads simply, I made it through. That mark tells you one thing. Someone else carried the same fear and found their way. You are not the first. You won't be the last. The mark is a promise the world sometimes forgets to tell us. Tunnels end. If today you only take one thing from this episode, take this. Hope can be a micro movement. It can be a breath, a call, a line in a book. It can be the single step you take when your legs are tired. Keep making steps. Keep looking for the marks on the wall. If this episode landed for you, please consider sharing it with one person who might need it. If you want more practical tools, I've included a short resource list in the show notes. And if you're safe and want to go deeper, I'd be honored to hold space for you in future episodes. Thank you for leaning in with me tonight. You matter more than you know. I'll meet you here again. This was Mirror Talk, Soulful Conversations. Be gentle with yourself.
Wow, you made it to the very end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm grateful for your time, your love, and your contributions. Subscribe, like, review, and share this podcast. God bless you. Bye. Bye.